All right, welcome everybody. This is the Rocky Series podcast, Going the Distance. I'm Ryan. My brother Ruben couldn't be here today. He's got a family engagement, but we're really excited because today we have with us. I don't want everyone to get excited, but we have Rocky with us, but not but not the Rocky, but probably the second best Rocky out there. Rocky runs a podcast called Super Ugly Show, and it's fantastic. It's funny. I've started listening from the very beginning because I'm a purist. I'm like on episode 10 or 11 right now. These guys crack me up. And I will just say for our viewers that his show is 18 plus.
Oh yeah.
Our show is PG, sometimes PG-13. So we'll just keep that in mind. But Rocky, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience here?
Yeah, hey, like he said, I'm one of the hosts from Super Ugly Show. Hopefully, the other one will be joining us soon. You can find us on YouTube. We're also on Russo's brand for all you wrestling fans. Vince Russo's little channel there. We're on there on YouTube and on the interwebs at russosbrand.com and also at therealmnetwork.com. And this Monday night, actually, I'll be doing a live show with Vince Russo and his co-host Jeff Lane on a Monday Night Raw review. So again, if you got any wrestling fans, I'm not really the biggest wrestling fan. I used to be, but now it's more of watch and poke fun at. So, if you want to hear some fun wrestling talk and not the boring rundown, come check us out Monday night.
Well, I'm like you.
And then Tuesday nights.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, your show.
Sorry, real quick.
Yeah.
Tuesday nights, 7:30 every week. We're live. Call in, write in, whatever you want to do, and enjoy the show. But like he said, we're very, very foul-mouthed. So
it's great. I love it. We need a wide range of shows out there. We all can't be G-rated, PG-rated, or R-rated, so to speak. We have a wide audience. But my mom listens to my show, so But you guys are hilarious. Truly, I'll plug you guys tons because I'm a big fan of. Put it this way, I'm such a good fan now that I will listen. Like, you guys aren't on like iTunes or anything. That's one of the first questions I asked you. It was very frustrating because you came back and said, "Hey man, we got video. Who listens to things nowadays?" Well, like I do. 57 million people do, in fact, but that's okay. That's beside the point. So, anyways, you might want to.
You're right. We do get that a lot. We do get that request a lot of the audio. So we'll hopefully one day we'll work on that.
It's really easy. Basically, you do what you're doing right now, and you just rip the video file into an audio file, and you throw it out into the. It costs you $25 a month. You can handle that. That's it.
As far as I'm concerned, you're lucky I was able to make this phone call. Ritchie, on the other hand, he's the guy. He takes care of all the technical mumbo jumbo.
Right, roger that. Okay, so I used to love wrestling. I'm 41 years old, and I was raised in the glory days like you with the wrestling. I was a Hulkamaniac. I was blown away when I found out the wrestling was quote unquote scripted or fake, as they say. I remember being a kid. I remember being a kid, and that was the big news expose happened, and that wrestler punched that reporter in the ear. Remember that?
Yeah. That was not Dr. Death. That was what was his name? The blonde guy.
Yeah, I know what he looks like.
On his name. Yeah. The blonde curly hair. It wasn't Dr. Death. That was Steve Williams. But yeah, I remember that interview. That was great. My favorite one was when Vince McMahon flipped out on Bob Costas.
What happened there again? Remind us.
Bob Costas had brought up, I think, the steroid scandal, and Vince McMahon smacked the clipboard out of his hand and really got in his face and gave him the business. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, Vince, explain your relationship, because I actually haven't picked up quite, because like I said, I started watching your show from the very beginning, and FYI, Richie's going to be joining us soon, so he's going to, just when he joins, he joins.
Yeah.
So, how did you guys... Like Vince Russo, remind me, he was a big writer during the Raw era, or
yes, during the Attitude Era, the Stone Cold heyday, The Rock, and the sex, drugs, and rock and roll of wrestling era, and he was the head writer, he was the guy, and then he went to WCW, and he was in a sinking ship. A lot of the people there had contracts where they had creative control over their characters. So trying to write a show like that is very difficult. But everyone blames him for WCW going down, and it wasn't his fault. The ship was already broken. It was already on its way down, and he just happened to hop on it 3/4 of the way down and decide I'll go down with it, I guess.
Yeah, I remember Monday night, and I would used to record Nitro and Raw at the same time. So I was a fan of both. I actually enjoyed both. But there was a time actually where I started to like WCW more, that I actually looked forward to their kind of gritty, dark. Of course, they had a lot of the old heroes from my childhood, which I loved. I loved seeing Macho Man and Hogan in the ring together. And I got to admit, I was kind of like, and Goldberg. I love Goldberg, you know. So but you know, it was a fun time. It was fun to actually. I was one of those guys that just enjoyed both. I didn't feel like I had to choose.
Yeah, it was that whole NWO thing because as like you, when I was a child, Hulk Hogan was godlike. And then when he turned bad when I was at the right age for me to go, yeah, it's cool to be bad, you know? So it just it was an easy transition over to now he's bad and I like him still. So, and then, yeah, Goldberg, when he arrived, he was such like an unknown and such a different, just come in, beat you up real quick, destroy everything in your way, and it was so just fun to watch because you never really seen anyone just come in and dominate like that.
Right.
So,
yeah, he's a beast.
To put it best, and even his run this time during the WWE, I don't know if you saw it at all, but a lot of people gave him some stuff, and I thought it was all right for what it was.
Well, you know, like Apollo said in Rocky 3, it's too bad we got to get old, Stallion. So I mean, we all got to get a little bit older, and their days are over. You can't wrestle when you're 60 anymore. Well, I guess unless you're Ric Flair, you can wrestle when you're 60. But
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to correct you on your own Rocky podcast. That was Rocky 4 when he said,
"Oh yeah,
you got to get old, Stallion."
Yeah, you're right. That was
when I told you I don't have to prep, I was dead serious, my man.
That's awesome.
Now let me explain real quick. There's a rule in the household that I live in. My wife abides by it. All my children do. If Rocky is on television, like if you're going through the guide and you see the word Rocky, it must be turned on, no matter what number it is, no matter what it is. That movie must be on, and everyone in the house loves it, so no one has a problem. You never get anyone going, "Oh my God, Rocky again." No, those words have never been spoken in this house. Everyone sits down and goes, "Oh, nice, Rocky," and just enjoys it.
Okay,
every single time.
That's awesome. Before we get to the Rocky talk, I just want to tie up the wrestling because I'm curious. I'm curious as a listener. Like I said, as a fan of your podcast, I'm curious. How did you get connected with Vince Russo? Like, how did that even happen?
Vince Russo and my wife, her father and him were best friends. So there was a connection through that whole thing. Oh, and it looks like Rich is here.
What's up, guys?
Yo, Richie, what's going on, brother?
What's up? Who am I talking to right now? And do you hear an echo or anything?
No echo on my end, and this is Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
It's good to see you, brother.
I'm Rocky.
Yeah, nice to be a part of this. Definitely was looking forward to it all day.
I love your guys' accents. I know it sounds cheesy, but I'm from Canada, West Coast. I live above Seattle with a bunch of hippies, and it's nice to hear some New York accents. So it's cool.
You know what's odd? I was expecting the aboot, and is that more of an Eastern Canada thing?
Yeah, it is. I know what you're talking about, but yeah, I can't even do it. I don't know how to do Canadian.
Yeah. No, you don't sound Canadian, if that's, proper to say. But, you hear Canadians in movies and film and everywhere else, and they have that aboot, and, it's very distinct.
Yeah, no, that's true. It is distinct, and I love hearing your guys' accents. And I was telling Rocky, I don't mean to blow smoke up your butt here, guys, but I was telling Rocky, Richie, how much I'm enjoying your show. I've started from the very beginning because I'm a purist. And so I've gone back to the first episodes, and I'm on like episode 12 now, and it kills me. The show makes me laugh out loud, and very few things. It's actually a compliment because I consider myself a kind of funny guy, and so when other guys make me genuinely laugh, and John kills me. Sorry,
That's out of control.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
I really, if he could join at any time, I'd just like to say hi to him. But the whole the guy, I don't know whoever this guy is. It's like, does he still call in 60 shows later, or is this an early show thing?
Which guy?
Okay, remember the guy? He's called the guy. He was the one that him and John had a dispute at the beginning a year ago.
That's beautiful Bobby Dream.
Oh,
No,
Bobby Dream.
the Twitter dude.
Oh,
Twitter dude.
Fidelito.
He was like
right.
Cuban Puerto Rican dude
no.
or whatever.
Yes, no, we haven't heard from him in a
fell
while.
off the face of the earth. Yeah, we don't know where he went.
John probably had him whacked.
Yeah.
Most likely. No, now we got a whole new group of cast of characters. Once you get to about what was it, 2 weeks show now, Rich? 2 weeks ago. What was it, 59 or 60, 61? I don't know.
Rocky's rare form.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I really went off on this other show, and
Oh, I love it. I love your
yeah.
guys. I love your guys' banter and the way you just don't pull any. Excuse the Rocky pun. You don't pull any punches, and it's fun to listen to. I love it. So, anyways, that's my fifth plug of your guys' show. So, everyone's listening, go over to the Super Ugly Show. But if you do, don't forget about the Rocky Series podcast because we still need our listeners. And so we're just going into Rocky was just telling the story of his home life, about how important Rocky is in his life and how important, if Rocky's on the TV, you got to watch it. Everyone shuts up and listens and watches Rocky with Rocky.
Yeah.
Richie actually can attest to this. Last week he was at my house. His wife was over also. We're all just enjoying a Saturday evening. Rocky was on. My wife goes, "Oh, nice, Rocky." Richie's wife then goes, "Oh, don't you get sick of it though?" And my wife goes, No, I don't.
No way. Actually, I have 6 kids, and ages 18, almost 19, down to 3-year-old twins. And I'm on my second marriage, and so the second marriage I have 4 kids, 2 with the first marriage, and my wife and I right now when we had the twins. I realized this was my last. I wasn't going to have any more kids, but I always wanted to name one of my kids after the Rocky franchise, right? No offense to Rocky, I didn't want to name my kid Rocky because I just, it's like, what happens if this guy is like not tough or not strong because has soft hands.
The bill.
Yeah, you don't want to give the name like Rocky. Oh, you go throw some punches, Rocky. So I was like, okay, but then I was like, I want to give something to my last son. Name him something after. So I went to my wife and said, "Hey, can we name?" And I was thinking just middle names, right? I wasn't thinking first name anyway. So I said, "Could we name our last son's middle name, Sylvester?" And she's like, and she knows how much I love Stallone and love Rocky and all the films. And she goes, "No, I'd rather Stallone." I'm like, Stallone? You'll go with Stallone? I didn't even lead with Stallone. So my last son's name is Grace. My last son's name is Grayson Stallone.
Wow.
That's
awesome.
That's dedication right there.
Yeah, I love it, and and he's so I have a special place in my heart for my youngest son because he, and I love it when my wife gets mad at him. She goes, "Grayson Stallone, get over here!" So it's pretty cool. But,
so that's one of the twins.
Yeah, one of the twin boys. They turn 3 next month. Yeah.
How's that working out? You made it through the toughest part so far, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They're both potty trained. It's a boy and a girl. She's my only daughter. I got 5 boys, 1 girl, and they're all Stallone fans, like your family. I raised my kids watching Stallone, and my oldest kids listen to this podcast. But yeah, the hardest part is over. The potty training's done. They're good to go. They sleep through the night. So
your daughter. She's gonna be one safe little girl with 5 brothers. I mean, God.
Yeah, when she's like 16 and when she's 16 and dating, she's gonna have 2 brothers in their 30s.
Yeah, exactly. So that's good though. That's good. She'll be the one that all the boys don't mess with her. She's got 5 brothers that'll come after you.
Yeah, well, I always say it's not even the brother that they're gonna worry about. It's my wife. She's the killer. My wife's the killer. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah.
So
no, I'm in the same boat there. My wife is she's the killer as well.
All right, so let's start with the Rocky films. Off the top of your head, Rocky, rank them 1 through 7, worst to let's just start with the worst to best.
Okay, worst. I gotta go Rocky 3.
Wow.
Rocky 3. Yeah, Rocky 3 is the worst. And then Rocky 5, even though 5 is low just because it is a bad movie, but the fight at the end is fantastic.
Okay.
And it's fun to watch for all the awful moments that are in it. Then I'm going Creed, Balboa, 4, 1, 2.
Okay, so 3, I'm legitimately surprised that 3 is the. Now, let's just be clear here. A bad Rocky film it's still loved, and you probably see it 1,000 times, but it's just the worst of the film. But a bad Rocky film is better than a lot of crap that's released today. I'll tell you that right now.
Yes, again, if Rocky 3 is on, it's not getting changed. Don't get me wrong. We're still watching it every time. But it's not. If I have to go to a go-to, it's not the go-to. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't care for it. I feel like the whole Clubber Lang thing's very rushed. Rocky just being a sourpuss, like he's just being a baby. You know, you just made a bunch of money. Now you're just being a baby because you lost one fight.
Okay, so we just, like I said before, hey Richie, you okay over there? It sounds like you're moving the house or something.
Yeah, Rich, get a hold of yourself. Come on.
I think he's got us muted, but I think he muted us, but not his microphone. So he's given us the pleasure of listening to him, I think.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure listening to him.
Okay. You guys kill me. All right, so we just started dissecting Rocky 3 on our podcast, and that opening montage. It took us 2 episodes just to talk about that opening montage because there's so much information in there.
The opening montage, meaning Rocky going through the bums.
Well, yeah, after he beats Creed. Well, there's the previously on montage, and then there's the montage of him like defending his title, going to the commercial.
Yeah.
What's going on with Richie?
Yeah, what is he doing over there? Rich, what's the problem, bud?
I don't think he can hear us. He's doing some adjustments. I would expect
it. This is my life, though. Every show, you've listened to it. Every show, This is my life. He tinkers over here, and he's fiddling with things, and he makes me nuts.
Oh, I love it. I'm
glad someone else gets to enjoy my insanity.
I would expect nothing less from you guys. This is great.
Oh, man. But, and then the way, the whole way Mickey died, like I was kind of just like, you know, it was so fast and sudden, and it didn't seem the send off Mick deserved. It wasn't as good as I felt it should have been.
I'm just gonna mute. I can mute him, I think. So I'm just gonna mute him.
Please do.
Did that work? I don't think that worked. Wait.
What is he doing?
you should text him. I think you got him on your.
He texted me. He texted me. He said, "Speakers aren't working. Give me a minute."
Tell him that his microphone. Tell him his microphone works fantastic.
I'm texting him, telling him to mute his mic. He's the worst. I'm telling you, this is what I deal with every week. Every week it's 7:29. We start at 7:30. He's like, "Just give me one more second. I want to rip my hair out every time."
That's hilarious. So yeah, I love how Rocky 3 starts off. You're right. Rocky 3, it's not even the same universe that Rocky 1 and 2 were in.
No.
I feel like Rocky comes out. He's all dressed to the nine. He's got his jacket. You remember when he breaks Paulie out of jail? There bails Paulie out of jail. Did you catch what Burt Young said to him there when he's getting mad at him, or the character when Paulie was getting mad at Rocky? He goes, "You fixed up your face real nice." Did you catch that?
Yeah.
Is that like
a?
Did Stallone write that in, or was that really Burt Young saying? Because Stallone actually I think he got some work done between 2 and 3 on his face in real life.
Oh, he must have. I mean, his face was so much more like chisel-esque. And I think also it's in reference to, maybe his eye or his nose, because remember, he's like, "I broke my nose again."
Yeah.
You know, in part 2 at the end there, well, not at the end, in the very first round, he comes back out and says he broke his nose again. So that he's probably referencing that. But that scene is just great, though. Paulie is the scene stealer of a lot of the movies.
Oh, absolutely. Burt Young, we always tip our hat to Burt Young throughout our podcast. He's an incredible character actor, and he owns that role of Paulie.
Yeah. Well, Bedbug Eddie, too. If you've ever seen Pope of Greenwich Village, I mean, he's fantastic in that as well.
You know, I should. You have to forgive me. Hopefully, don't hang up on me. I have not seen that movie yet. I've heard so much good stuff about it. It's just one of those movies that slipped through my radar throughout the years, and I just haven't seen it yet. It's
fantastic. Mickey Rourke and Burt Young, Eric Roberts, actually fantastic in it.
Yeah, I love those guys.
Yeah. So, but back to Rocky.
So yeah, Rocky 3 is funny because now we have Rocky who's he can speak now. Have you noticed that he doesn't have the Rocky drawl? He's very articulate.
Yes. He's educated. All of a sudden, from taking the worst beating of his life, he becomes a brilliant man. and it does come full circle because once part 5 comes, he gets the next worst beating of his life, and he's an idiot again. So.
I know. I love how in Rocky 5, he's, no offense to my listeners, he's retarded again. You remember Tropic Thunder when
hey kid, how you doing?
Wow!
What's wrong with him?
Ritchie comes back out of nowhere.
Yeah, he took a few too many shots to the head.
I know. He goes, "Hey, where's the kid?" I know. Where's the kid? Where's the kid? I don't see the kid.
Can we talk about the kid real quick?
Oh, please do.
This is my favorite thing. My favorite thing about the entire series is the complete neglect Rocky shows this child. It begins from his birth. On the birth of the child, they bring the baby in after who knows how long Adrian's been out for because they don't tell you, but it's been a while. He's grown a beard. So they bring the baby in and he goes, I haven't seen him yet. I wasn't going to see him without you. So for weeks, this kid should have been home with you in its crib. But you're like, nope, I'm not bringing this kid home. Leave him in the hospital. When my wife wakes up, she'll handle the kid's stuff. I'm not dealing with it.
If Adrian stayed in the coma, that kid would have been raised by the hospital.
That's what I always said. Imagine if Adrian was in a 10-year coma. Hey Rocky, how's the kid? I don't know. He's in 5th grade now. I haven't seen him.
I got no idea how he's doing. I don't even know who he looks like.
And how come no one told him his poem was awful? That poem stunk, and someone should have called him out on it.
Remember that date when we was on skates? Yeah.
Yo, hold on. What's real funny is between part 1 and the hitman, the collector's chauffeur, telling him to bring the retard to the zoo. It just so happens that he brings it to the zoo the next Rocky, and he proposes to her.
Well, we talk about that on our show when we talked about Rocky 2, and we obviously talked specifically about that zoo scene. Again, this is weird because Stallone, in the real world, Stallone wrote the films. He wrote the dialogue. So does Stallone, does he know he's writing that? And then if he knows that he's writing that, does he not know that people will be thinking what we just said? Like, it's a weird concept that he's going to go, I'm going to take her to the zoo after I wrote earlier that retards go to the zoo. And Adrian's kind of perceived as somebody who's, not too bright, but she is very bright, but she's just quiet. I know it's a weird, I don't know why he wrote that. That's one of the questions I would actually ask him is like, when you wrote the zoo scene, did you forget the dialogue 3 years previous? He might have.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Ryan, did you go through your favorite to least favorite, or?
No, I haven't. I haven't yet. I want to. Oh, you're asking me, Ryan, or Rocky? Oh yeah, Rocky. Are you allowed to say your Christian name, as they say?
It's Rocco.
Rocco?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. All right, well, that's close enough. Yeah. They refer to Rocky in the movies as Rocco sometimes. So Paulie goes, "Hey, Rocco."
Yes, but his name's actually Robert. Correct?
Yeah. That's actually true.
Yes.
And when did we find that out?
When the kid's born, he says we'll name him after you, and then you find out his name's Robert in 5, I believe.
That's right. So that's right. We don't find out his name until Rocky 5. So it's really kind of interesting because even as a viewer, you're like, well, name him after the father. And of course, as a viewer, we're thinking, because I think Rocky says Rocky Jr. Doesn't he say that in that scene?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, he
I got
does.
a little trivia for you.
Oh, here we go.
Who is the owner of Mickey's Gym after he passes?
Oh, are you talking about Creed?
No,
No,
the kid is.
Oh, who's the
He left it
owner?
to the kid.
Oh, yeah.
The kid owns the gym. Yeah. Rocky did not own the gym.
But somebody else
Real
gets
quick,
in
though.
Creed, though, right? Isn't there other owners in Creed? I think, like, didn't Rocky sell it or something? It wasn't his anymore, or
It could have been his
That other
building.
guy owned it.
It was the building, but I don't know if he owned the building or whatnot. But they actually just knocked down the pet store.
yeah, they did knock down
Yeah,
the
I
pistol.
saw that.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the neglect real quick because I love
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
topic because there's so much of it, and it's one of my favorite things to discuss about these movies. So in 2, we've done that. You know, he leaves the kid in the hospital forever. Then we get to 4.
The kid has a
4
beard.
is just 4 is outrageous what they do to this child. He leaves for Russia, right? Now, he's in Russia. He's fighting on Christmas Day. Mom decides, I'm going to go to Russia too. We're going to leave you, 8-year-old, by yourself on Christmas with a robot.
Yeah, the robot's going to take care of you.
From what I could tell, there is no human supervision. Now, also, the robot has now been trained to talk sexy. Does the sexy robot talk to the children in the sexy robot way?
There could have been a mode change. There could have been a button or mode change. He had the robot had a couple buttons on it. He could have switched modes between child predator or whatever the modes could have been for that thing. Now you have to keep in mind. Remember though, Rocky has he had help. Remember when Mr. Balboa phoned for you?
Okay. Yes, I agree. But she's just going to leave 3 8-year-olds unattended for that long on Christmas? And why are those kids there on Christmas? Why aren't they with their families?
Because I don't know why he didn't. Well, I don't know why he didn't go to Russia. There's no excuse for it.
And then also a real quick part about that when they're like watching the fight and he goes, "Oh, that's my dad," and they're like, "Yeah, we know." Of course they know. They're in his friggin' house. They know who he is.
I know. It's like they've watched this whole fight. Like, hey, Robert, why are we watching this guy on TV? I'll tell you at the end when he wins.
Yeah, exactly. I start to understand why Rocky would neglect this Zero because the kid's really annoying to begin with. So let's get to 5 now.
Oh,
Five is my favorite.
Yeah.
This is the best of all. Rocky meets a homeless man on the street, and that night decides, kid, you're out of your room. The homeless man's moving in. You're sleeping with your alcoholic uncle. Like, in what world does a parent do that to their child? I just met this guy off the street. Get out of your room. This looks great. He's staying here.
The poor kid just fixed the basement. The poor kid just fixed up the basement all freaking day, and he gets kicked out of there.
And he gets kicked out of there. And then when he comes in and he shows him, he's like, "Dad, look, got my jacket back." Rocky's like, "Yeah, go. Great. Go tell Mom. I really don't care about you, your jacket, anything. Go talk to your mother. Leave me alone."
He was a little bit more enthusiastic there. He goes, "Oh, yeah, that's great. It's great. I got to go back and train." Yeah, I know.
But he's on the pay no mind list, you know? The kid is just completely on the pay no mind list.
Well, what I love is the Rocky 4 to Rocky 5, like quantum time. Yeah. Why didn't they just do? I don't understand why they couldn't have just done. Hey, where's the kid? I don't see the kid. And they got another kid actor to come out, give him a hug, and then they go 5 years later. A little thing, 5 years later.
They live in a completely different house. They live in a completely different house.
Yo, I'm not gonna stand back and have you guys keep bashing this, all right?
Yeah, jump in, please.
I will not stand for this.
No, I love it. Look,
I know.
I'm not bashing.
We're just having
after
fun.
watching these movies, literally each one hundreds of times, you start to find these little nuances in each one that you're like, this is insane.
Well, to be fair, it's like they say, I can insult my kids and my family, but nobody else is. Nobody else is allowed to. So these films are my love, and I love them so much. But I have that right, as you guys do, because you love them so much. We can say with humor and doesn't take away our enjoyment of the films. The things that obviously don't, the things that don't make sense.
Nothing can take away from these films.
Ryan, can we get your best to worst?
Yeah, sure. Okay, we'll start with the best. Well, it goes without saying Rocky 1. I always tell people sometimes when I do the list, like, don't even start with Rocky 1, because if you don't say Rocky 1's your favorite film of the franchise, I don't know what, Then
I said 2. I said 2.
Oh, I missed that. You ended with 2. Okay, my apologies. Okay, so why did you make 2 over 1? I did miss that. I apologize.
Why? Because when I was younger, the ending of 2 just sunk in with me so much that still to this day, I know he's getting up. I've seen it thousands of times. Yeah. But I literally to this day, because he's down at 8 and he's just getting up, he's just reaching that top rope at 8 and he's still down. So you like get up and I still get that feeling of he's not going to get up. And then he gets up, and I'm like, oh, all right, I knew he was going to get up, but still,
Yeah,
I just love the way it ended. That end it really stuck with me.
It's amazing. I know 2 is a perfect sequel, actually. So it's like that end fight and that stress. So definitely 2 provides stress for the final fight that no other fight provides. I don't think any other it comes close to the stress you feel of both boxers down.
And the amp,
that music in the background, that weird, like that kind of stressful music chord that plays when he's like the refs counting, and you see everyone's reaction to every second that goes by, how the camera goes to everyone's reaction. It's just, it lasts like 45 seconds, the whole sequence.
And one of my favorite things about that one, too, is when Adrian does get out of the coma and they're all celebrating, and she goes, I want you to do one thing for me. And she pulls him in, she goes, win. And he looks at her, win. And you hear Mick, what are we waiting for? Take this. And that music, that music hits. And you're just like, it gets you so pumped. You're like, yes, finally, here we go. Now he's going to do what he's supposed to do. Let's go. And you just get so pumped. And that's one of my first Rocky memories of like feeling that energy of, yes, here he comes, And it, 2 to me is just, like you said, it's a perfect sequel. And I ask me on a certain day, I might say 1, honestly.
Sure.
But those 2 are so interchangeable as far as which one's better to me.
I think the reason why I like 1 just a little bit more than 2, well, actually, 2 is not even in my top. I think 2 might be my top 4. I have to go through it again in my head. And I'll get to it. The reason being is because 2 is so closely mirrored to 1 that you could almost make 1 and 2 to like a Godfather type movie. You could almost make that. One movie. If you could, like, it could be a 3.5 hour movie, and you'd be like, "Oh, this is awesome!" Like the middle part of the movie was, Creed winning, and then Rocky gets his, shorten up the coma scene. You've got yourself a 3 hour movie. But Rocky 1, just with the whole everything about Rocky 1, it's just like, to me, it's like a perfect film. That's why I rate it number 1. There's nothing in Rocky 1 that I would change. Then I've gone through all the movies. I could tell you stuff I'd change in Rocky 2. I would change the coma scene. I was shortened it by 7 minutes, whatever that was. We get it. Yeah. We get it. Rocky's writing a poem and he's learning how to read. But come on, wake up already. I either die or not die. Let's move on.
I agree, because when I go through my list and I tell Rocky why number 2 is shoved back a little bit, is because of the dead time.
Yeah.
But also Apollo's anger into really
awesome. Yeah.
I fall in love with when he's on the balcony and his wife's like, can't you just let it go? And he's like, are you serious? And he throws and that's one of my favorite lines. You carried that bum for 15 rounds. You call yourself a champ. You're a fake. The fight was a fake. Go kill yourself.
That's awesome.
Favorite thing. I love that line. It's so good.
You know what those were, right? Those were actually just paper mean tweets.
Yeah. Pretty much.
That's exactly what it was.
Like Apollo was getting mean tweets by a snail mail. It's funny. So people always say social media has made us whatever, but it goes to show this movie was in '79 that had Apollo been in the real world with a Twitter account, he would have gotten inundated with those type of tweets right after the fight was had. But he said he got them in the mail a few weeks later.
Yeah,
I love the fight in part 1 also.
Well,
it just shows the perseverance of his character, and the best in the world is fighting this chump nobody, and he's taken everything he's got, and like me and Rocky talk about, the emotion on Apollo's face when he gets back up and he's like, what the hell do I have to do to get this guy out? Like, you got to be kidding me.
And that's just
when
great
Apollo's
acting.
in the corner. When Apollo's in the corner and he raises his arms and he's turning to the crowd and he's like, I got him. And he turns around and sees him up and the look of just, are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
I've done everything, and he's up. That
Yeah,
is
it's
the greatest nonverbal acting motion I've ever seen. Like, the disappointment and the frustration, everything is just boiled up to that point, and he's just in such disbelief. It's phenomenal. It really is.
The scene where Rocky is in round 14, he gets knocked down, and you got Mickey yelling, "Stay down, stay down!"
Yeah.
And he's crawling, and he's going like this. That scene right there, because we as a viewer know in his head he's like, I have to get up, I have to go to the distance. Like, so that's one of the most moving scenes in movie history of him just getting to his feet. And so actually round 14 is actually a better film and better emotional round than the 15th round. It's when he's getting up on his feet, and it's like he's not going to get knocked down again. You know, he's going to get up, he's going to stay up. And they say that, well, Creed says, you know, like, in fact, we know that if that fight went another 30 seconds, I think Rocky was going to knock him out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he had him in the middle of the ring, and he was killing him at that point.
Breaking his
Body
ribs.
shots. Yeah.
Yeah. He just needed it, like you said, another 30 seconds, and the fight was his.
You want to know another significant part in part one that I love too, talking about him going the distance, is when he goes to the arena and he's like, yeah, these, you know, the trunks color, they're wrong. And he's like, yeah, I'm sure you're going to put on a great show. You know, like he's letting him know right there, like, you're a nobody. You're lucky to be there. You're going to do, you know, you're going to entertain the crowd, but you're not going to win. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
you're not going to be significant.
Your
So
purpose is to be the bull and just get stabbed and maimed and poked at. And...
So then he goes back and he talks to Adrian, and he's like, I can't beat this guy. He's like, all I want to do is just, you know, I just want to go the distance on it, you know? That's all I want to do.
Beautiful scene, man. Let me ask you guys. You guys are a couple of tough individuals. Have you cried in the Rocky movies?
No. No.
I don't think I've ever cried because I was too old at that point where I've seen him so many times to actually get like certain significant. Like,
maybe not
moments.
Tears, but you get this in the throat. That you know that.
You know what? In Rocky Balboa, at the end of that, when he raised his hand walking out, I did get a little like, because I thought that was the last time I was going to see Rocky.
Right. Okay.
You know what scene gets me like that? Part 3 at the beach.
Oh yeah, the hug.
No, not whatever.
Wow. So so the part that which part of your body gets moved the most during the homoerotic huggy scene? That's fine. Go ahead.
I love this. I love the bonding scene between him and Apollo, but no, it's the speech between him and Adrian. You know, and I
gave all my groomsmen shirts of that scene, them two embracing each other with bromance underneath it.
That's awesome.
So me and Richie both have shirts memorializing that wonderful scene.
That's awesome. Sorry, go ahead, Richie. We're stomping on your emotional moment there.
Right. I'm used to it. You know, so he's talking about Mick, and Mick, you know, he's saying, you know, why did he do that? He actually hurt me by, you know, protecting me, you know, because at the end of it wasn't real. It wasn't, you know, and then Adrian's got to, you know, slap a little sense into him. But I don't know. I just find that scene real to me. I don't know.
It's a great scene. Boy, Talia Shire, she was fantastic.
She was. Ryan, I just remembered something else that made me hate 3. Sorry.
Go ahead. Go all over the place, man. It's good.
I had it. I knew there was something I was leaving out, and it finally clicked in. Why the hell did they leave Mickey in the locker room?
Yeah.
Bring him to a hospital. This man is dying.
I know.
What are you doing?
It's kind of it's weirdly filmed because he knocks off the mask, the breathing mask gets knocked off his face, and it's like, okay, so is he dead? Does he not need to breathe anymore? And then even when Rocky comes in after the fight, the guy goes, "We need to get him to the hospital." Rocky's like, "Yeah, just 1 second. I just want to let him know that we won the fight, that we didn't win." And I don't. It's a weird. They should have just wrote it a little. That's actually, I hate to say it's on Stallone a little there. He should have just written it that, you know, that Mickey was struggling, he wasn't feeling well, but there was no panic yet. And then maybe with Rocky coming in, Mickey hears the final words of that they won their last fight. Then he starts to kind of breathe really hard, and Rocky's like, "What's going on?" They try to revive him, then he dies. Like They could have done that, been more realistic, because it was a weirdly edited. Like, is he dead? He's alive. Why are they not panicking? Like, Rocky.
That is not a facility to be keeping an 80-something-year-old man who's clearly having very serious health issues. He should be in a hospital where they have the tools and the doctors to take care of this person. He probably died because they left him there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're putting some serious accusations on him right now. I don't know, man. I mean,
the guy's saying
you make him sound like a criminal.
Throw him in an ambulance and get him to a hospital. You got to think Rocky walked out. Now they got to do introductions. He fought 2 rounds. That's another 7 minutes, and then he leaves the ring. I mean, we're talking 20 minutes at this point.
Yeah, it was poorly written. That scene with the lead up to the death was poorly written. However, the death itself of Mickey and Stallone's acting in that scene of his crying in Mickey's body was actually a really powerful moment. It's a really powerful moment in the movie. So despite the poorly written to that end, I thought it was a really powerful scene. I think Stallone's acting in that scene, just to actually do the guttural cry, it's harder to do than you would think. Just to the gutting crying that Stallone does there is really cool. I like it.
Yeah. And then out of nowhere, they just introduced that Mickey's been Jewish this whole time. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but, they're like, oh, by the way, Mickey's Jewish. It's like, all right. Yeah. I don't know why they decided to throw that in there, but...
Well, I think, he says things throughout the movies, I think, that are kind of like... I don't know the Jewish community very well. We don't have a lot of Jewish people here in Western Canada, but from what I've seen in film and TV, I think there's some indication just the way some of the slang that he uses, I think. But did you know, here's some trivia. When Stallone wrote the script, who was Mickey's character?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was Mickey's character was originally going to be Rocky's mom, and Rocky's mom was going to be a racist Jewish woman.
Get out of here! No kidding.
Something like that. So so they kind of kept what they did is they kind of kept the Jewish part into Mickey, but the racism kind of racist type comments and stuff come from Paulie. Oh no, sorry, my bad. Paulie's character. I corrected myself. Paulie's character was going to be a Jewish racist guy. Mother to Adrian. That's right. Sorry, I'm going all over the place here. My apologies. So Paulie was going to be Adrian's mother in this original script. That's right. But they made it that it was going to be the brother, and they kept some of that racism. Because remember when in Rocky 3 when Paulie goes into the gym, the Apollo's gym, and he's kind of nervous around all the black boxers, and he's like, "How is Rocky going to train to this jungle music?" That's terrible. You couldn't write that stuff today, on a mainstream film. You couldn't say jungle music. I don't know.
It's funny. I referenced that.
You said that.
Richie said something, and I said, "What I ever do to them?"
Yeah, and then he's like, and Rocky's like, "Well, I don't think they like you. They don't like you much neither," or something like that.
Yeah, he goes, "I don't like these people." Rocky goes, "Well, maybe they don't like you." What did I do to them?
What did I do to them? I love it.
Finish your list, Ryan. I want to hear it.
Okay, so Rocky 1 is the best, and Rocky 4 is my second favorite.
Of course.
Because when it comes down
I can't argue that.
When it comes down to Rocky 4, it is absolutely, as far as the film goes, we know it is a music video. It is middle 1980s, like through and through. But the energy and the drama and the over the top and it just encapsulates.
What's the best montage to you in that one?
Well, definitely with him climbing up the mountain after Adrian's come and he's yelling Drago. When he was on that mountain and he's like this, yelling Drago's name in anger and victory, like Drago. Oh man, it's like I can watch that over and over again.
I love the driving montage. That's probably my favorite one in that movie.
I don't know. He's got the driving.
It's such a turning point, though.
I don't want to sacrifice. I don't want to.
If I was him,
yeah.
I would have ran up those stairs and chucked her right down them. I'd be like, "What? Are you kidding me? You're my wife, and you're telling me it's suicide? I'm gonna get killed."
Well, Adrian, yeah, that was a dark moment in their marriage. That's the darkest moment in their whole marriage because they were like, he's like, "You can't win," and Rocky's like, Oh, Adrian always tells the truth. You know, it was a really dark moment in their marriage, and this is the
Yeah, but can't she be positive in the beginning? Why does she always have to be like real, you know what about it? And then at the end, then she's always like, here's the words you need. Why couldn't you do that in the beginning? You know?
Because we have to see Adrian's approval. Adrian's approval is the kickstart that the Rocky needs.
You know what really sets me off? Because we're not, how we're going through the movies kind of in order right now, which is really good. So we're floating back and forth, but we're not. Part 4, when it grabs me from the beginning, when I'm watching it, is when Apollo comes over Rocky's house and they're watching the tapes.
Right.
You know,
we mentioned that.
Where do we go? Where do we go, Stallion? You know, when he lays into him with this.
Can't be reborn again.
He goes into the speech, and from there, you have no other choice but to be hooked on that movie. My 9-year-old daughter is hooked on that movie from that point. It's just.
I love how they foreshadow Paul's death so much. He's like, if we can't be fighters in the ring, we might as well be dead, Stallion. We might as well be dead. And we're like, you will be, don't worry.
Yeah.
It's like,
you know what I love too? The entire full James Brown song that they feel the need to play. Like they were like, this movie's only going to be 80 minutes. All right, just throw the whole James Brown thing in and we'll just play the whole song.
Oh, James Brown. That's the fact. The James Brown sequence is Drago's expression throughout that whole sequence is spot on. I think I would have been the same way. I've been like, what are we doing here? What's going on here?
He's a Russian from Siberia. He's got no idea what's going on. All of a sudden, there's black girls walking around in thongs. There's skulls on sticks.
Yeah.
James Brown's running around with a wig on, dancing in a shiny suit.
I wonder how Paulie felt about that jungle music being played in Rocky IV.
What about the press conference?
Oh, that's a great scene in Rocky.
God.
Before we get to the Rocky IV press conference, what movie did not have a press conference?
Oh, 5 did.
5
3?
Did, yeah.
3?
3 didn't, right?
Isn't that weird? They never had Clubber Lang and Stallone going for the first fight or the second fight. They didn't have a press conference.
Yeah, no, I guess the statue scene was like their face-to-face,
Yeah, but it would have been an interesting press conference because you would have got a lot more Clubber Lang quips,
But you know what I love, too? Next time you watch it, if you've never noticed this, when he calls Adrian Clubber Lang on the steps and he goes, hey, woman.
Hey, woman.
Watch her grab her coat like, oh my God, the black man. What is he saying to me? She grabs her coat like she's going to be attacked.
Sir. I love how he's challenged Rocky in every which way. He's like, no, you're paper champion. You're paper champion. It's like, and he's like, okay, I've insulted his belt. I've insulted his earning as a champion. Okay, hey woman. Hey woman, and I like how even if he says "Hey woman," they're still listening to like, oh, what I'm wondering what he has to say to Adrian. It was the other thing. Why did you bring your pretty little stuff over to my place? I'll show you your real man.
All right, Ryan, I got a question for you.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, what's up?
All right, and Rocky, please don't interrupt.
Okay.
Otherwise,
go ahead.
I will be very upset with you. All right, Drago versus Clubber Lang.
Oh, Drago. Easily.
Why would you say easily?
Well, the reach, number one. Because we saw what in the Rocky universe, we saw what Rocky did to Drago. I mean, sorry. Well, we saw what Rocky did to Drago and what he did to Clubber Lang. Clubber Lang was definitely hungry. He was angry. He had a lot of that going for him, but I don't think he had. We saw what Rocky did to him. He didn't have the stamina. Drago could just sit there and just block for like 3 or 4 rounds, and by round 5, Clubber and then Drago would have Drago I think would have gotten him in 3 rounds easily.
See, that's a great point, the stamina thing, and I've never realized that in that argument, and you made a fantastic point with that. Yeah, I think Apollo now too, Rich, would wipe the floor with Clubber Lang because of the stamina thing.
Now Apollo versus Clubber Lang. Prime Apollo though, not Drago.
Apollo. I think Clubber was the weakest of the opponents. Clubber was just angry and brutal. He's kind of like a Mike Tyson-ish type character.
What about Tommy Gunn? Tommy Gunn and Clubber Lang.
Who's got worse hair, Tommy Gunn or Mr. T?
That mullet is sweet.
I love that mullet.
Ritchie dressed up as Tommy Gunn one.
That would have been a good fight. That would have been a good fight because both were quick fighters. I don't think either one of them ever really went to the distance in their fight. So that would have been a really good fight in the Rockyverse. But remember what Rocky said in Creed and that's one of the best scenes in the franchise. Actually, was when Adonis says to Rocky, "How did you beat him? How did you beat my father?" And he's like, "I didn't beat him. Time did. Time beats everybody. It's undefeated."
Now, look, I have a theory about the third fight thing. And then after this theory, I'm going to go because I got my wife upstairs and the kids are going to bed.
Okay.
And you guys can finish off. But the third fight thing. Now, Rocky tells Adonis that Apollo won. But I find this very hard to believe.
Okay.
For one, Rocky learned everything he could from Apollo Creed. He had already beaten him once prior to
almost everything, Stallion.
Yeah, remember,
you fight great, but I'm a great fighter.
Yes, I understand that, but he beat him in part 2. Then learned even more from Apollo in 3.
Right.
You're going to tell me that he can't beat Apollo again easily at that point? Come on.
No, and I agree with you. When that scene did come up in the theater, there was a part of me, because I know the Rocky character, that he was being humble, that he maybe was saying,
that's what I think.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't agree with Rocky. You want to know why?
What was that?
I'm going to tell you right now, because when Rocky and Apollo are going at it, they have emotion and feeling behind this. When they're in the gym fighting between themselves, it's going to be a class boxing match.
Yeah.
And Apollo's he's gonna beat Rocky up bad in any kind of boxing match. I'm sorry. And if you're not putting Rocky's back to the wall, Rocky's not gonna fight like that. So maybe he wasn't trying as hard, but Apollo kicked his ass that night.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I tend to believe the Rocky character when he says that the Apollo was the best fighter there ever was in the Rocky universe, that he was the best.
Yeah. When you see his action figures being sold, it's not the Rocky action figure that's $400. It's the Apollo one. If you look on any of the old action figures, out of everybody, Apollo's the most expensive figure there is.
Oh wow!
Funko Pop.
He is on Funko Pop also.
No, Rocky is on Funko Pop.
Really? Because I mean, when I look at, because I have the doll, the action figures behind me and everything, new and old, Apollo's more expensive than all of them.
But I'm real quick. Last thing, George Washington Duke, one of the best characters ever written. I absolutely love that man.
Yeah,
Brian, it's been an absolute pleasure. This has been so much fun. I definitely want to do this again with you.
Yeah, let's do it.
You got to come on our show and come and hang, dude, and get dirty with us. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, I'll pop it on your one of your live shows for sure.
Absolutely, but really, dude, this is so much fun. I could do this for hours. Like, I really could. I could sit.
Well, we'll get you back on again. We'll get you back on again, Rocky, with a kind of have you in with one of our actual discussions about the particular part of the movie that we're on. My brother and I are on. It'll be more focused, and we'll get you on for one of those for sure.
Absolutely, dude. I look forward to it, and thanks again, man. It's been a pleasure.
You bet. So Ritchie and I
Rich,
will.
Don't forget to plug us Tuesdays, 7:30, Super Ugly Show. And we'll see you guys there. Ryan, Rich, take it easy. Thanks, guys.
All right, take care, brother.
Later, Rock.
So for our listening audience, all this, I don't have too much time either. I've already hit the hour mark, if you can believe it. My wife texted me, "What have you done?" These wives, I tell you. It's like, I wish I could say, "Honey, this is what's making us the money," but you know what? It doesn't give us anything. It costs us money.
All right, how about this? F, marry, kill. Adrian, Apollo's wife, or Drago's wife?
This is terrible.
Okay.
I'd marry Adrian. I would make love to Bridget Nielsen easily, and then I'd have to let Paul's wife go. That's terrible.
See, I would kill Adrian.
Oh no! How could you? Well, cancer does that for her.
She'd be always on my ass. Like, I'd be drinking, and she'd tell me to come home, or give me some crazy speech on whatever. I don't need that in my life right now. I want to be a free bird, and just.
Well, who would let you be a free bird?
And you gotta take into consideration this too, because now if you're with Drago's wife, you're gonna think about your bloodline and her swimming Olympic background.
Yeah, that's true.
You're gonna have some superior athletes for kids, and if you're looking,
she was a gorgeous woman. She was a gorgeous woman in her prime.
If you're looking for to mate with somebody, she would be probably the best mating to have. I mean, look at Rocky's kid; he didn't really amount to nothing, and her bloodline. I mean, but I mean, with Drago's wife, you might have some superstar athletes on your hand.
I wonder what their kids would have looked like in the movies there.
Yeah, but
did you know there was a scene written for I think it was written for Rocky Balboa, and I'm 99% sure this is true. This is not like internet lore, but there was a scene that Rocky visited Drago in the hospital because he was dying of either like steroid abuse or AIDS from needle sharing or something like that. Something to do with, you remember, because that was a controversy that the character was having.
Yeah.
Did you hear about this?
No.
And he went in to kind of make peace with the Drago character, saying, like, there's been a lot of bad blood. You killed my best friend in the ring, but, I want to, because that's Rocky's character. He doesn't want, he likes to forgive people, move on with his life. And he went and Drago wasn't going to give him the same respect back. And when he left, so it was when he left the hospital, somebody asked him, how did it go with Drago? Like, how did it go with him? And his response to the person asking him was, if he dies, he dies.
And really?
Yeah.
I never seen that. You got to send it to me.
I gotta find that source, and then I heard that the reason why it wasn't done is because it's too dark. It was too dark for the Rocky character, but it would have been a good comeback for his, how cold Drago was about the killing of Apollo. It would have given that kind of like, well, if Drago dies, he dies.
Yeah, I think after Rocky IV, the Russians they put him against the wall and shot him up.
I wonder. They
had to have killed them.
Yeah, I don't know. So let's Rocky Balboa. This is probably the one movie out of all of them that I've seen the least, other than Creed, because I've only seen it twice in the theaters. I don't have it on DVD.
So many times. I've seen Creed so many times. Yeah, it's one of my. It's probably it's number 3 on my list.
Well, how do you not get choked up when Rocky finds out that he has cancer and he doesn't want to fight it because he saw what his wife went through? That scene alone should have got him. And I meant to talk about Rocky with this because his being robbed of the Oscar really cheeses me off. What about you? There's certain particular scenes in there where that he really is just amazing, and he totally takes an okay Rocky Balboa and a Rocky V and just makes a masterpiece out of this. Right. And Rocky V is not as bad as I thought it was. I watched it again just recently. I've seen it 100 times, but I watched it again recently with my 10-year-old son because it was his first time through it, and I remember kind of warning him before the movie started, say, "Well, this is a little bit different than the other films," but just because he just saw Rocky 3 and 4, so for a 10-year-old, that's like,
yeah. But you want to know something? Part 5 has some of the best scenes in it. You have Mickey coming back and giving memories to Rocky in Part 5 that I don't know. There's certain things in Part 5 that are just awesome.
And that's the parts that make me cry. Not tough men like you guys. But for a soft guy like me, that scene where he's like, nature's smarter than people think, and then when Mickey holds up that, and his hands are shaking, and he's holding up that the cufflink. He's like, Rocky Marciano gave these to me, and
you were gonna call it an earring, weren't you?
Yeah, well, I was thinking of the last
scene. You better not call it an earring.
My brain. No, it's not an earring. Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Oh my god, I would have been forced to hang up on you.
My brain was going to the final scene.
Oh shit, that's awesome.
Oh no, it's not an earring. No, yeah. He's like, because that's what Robert's like. Hey, what do you think? I know. I don't know why I did that. Oh my goodness, that's shoot awesome. Me now. It's one of the worst. That scene is one of the worst because when Robert's wearing that stupid earring in the movie. It's like, oh, that it didn't even look good in 1990, and it has not aged well 27 years later.
Yeah. And I love the fight too. I love that they're back in the bar. I love that they're back in Philly in Part 5. It's just Yeah, they could have not did the whole retarded over thing, but I enjoy it.
My wife just sent me a text that she almost set the house on fire. Sorry, I just want to make sure everything's okay. She's trying to operate the barbecue, but I'm sure it's fine. I don't hear smoke alarms, but yeah. What's your feeling on Rocky 5 ending as a street fight? Is that good or bad, or should it have ended in the ring?
I don't know. I take 5 for what it is. I don't like to change the movies in my eyes. I enjoyed it because George Washington Duke, there's been situations in our lives where people have turned on us to where you've given these people your all and they turn around and shit on you. So you could relate to this kind of character,
right?
And you got to take it for what it is. It's not as good as the other ones as far as how good it holds up, but there's a lot of real material in Part 5 that is overlooked because of the certain things that they do in that movie.
Right. So, you just try fixing your microphone. It sounds a little staticky or something. I'm not sure if this needs to be adjusted.
No, I actually got I'm using my mic off of the cam right now because Rocky has all my equipment inside his house. That's
fine. It's fine. Just what's staticky now. It hasn't been that way till now. But I'll finish my countdown, then we'll wrap things up because we're already over the hour mark, and which is fine. But our show, actually, I didn't tell you, but I told Rocky off the air how our show works. So this goes on we have a YouTube channel like you guys. But you guys do exclusively through your YouTube channel, which is really cool. I kind of cheat. I use the YouTube channel just so I can rip the audio, and then I take the audio from that feed, and then I cut it up, and I do post, edit, and stuff like that, and then we release it through iTunes. And I was telling Rocky, you guys should really consider doing the same thing, so you can still have your video format, and then really with a couple clicks of a button and converting your files, you can get your stuff out to a larger audience.
You're on iTunes?
Yeah, iTunes, any podcast, and basically any smart device, and on your PC laptop, like anything that can run a podcast, we're there. So whether you're a Android user, Apple user, it doesn't matter. It goes to all the podcast things out there. It's like $20, $25 a month, but we can talk about that later. But I just recommend that.
Yeah, Libsyn.
Libsyn. That's what we use. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, so I'll let you go. We'll do this again because we didn't even touch. Honestly, man,
it's a huge universe. Well, yeah. we have our like. I recommend. I'm not going to plug myself to you guys, but if you want, check us out at the Rocky Series podcast. We're on iTunes. We're on all the Android apps too, and all that good stuff. And we're 40. We've done interviews with some pretty cool guys and girls, of course. And my brother and I, we have fun banter back and forth, and we use the Rocky films it's much like you guys do. It's very similar format. Like you use a topic, and that topic sparks other conversations, and then you go back to whatever topic you're talking about. And we did 42 episodes. It took us to get through the first 2 movies. So that gives you an idea of between interviews and talking about the movies, we're going in that kind of chronological order. And we just started with Rocky 3 right now. So we just started Rocky 3. And it's fun.
All right, how about Tommy Gunn versus Clubber?
Oh boy, I've said that Clubber Lang loses to everyone. I'll give this one to Clubber. Poor Tommy Gunn. He'll lose to Clubber.
Wow. Yeah, I appreciate happy man. Me. I think
Tommy was a beast, man. He was a beast though.
Tommy was tough, man. He punched really hard. And he took Rocky shots like a champ. Yeah, he had stamina, and he did fight the glass jaw champion, of course. But Rocky trained him very well.
He did. But he couldn't give him his heart though. He couldn't give him his heart.
I love that car scene when he's pulling off on the Cadillac, and he's giving the speech about these guys are vampires and.
Yes,
and he's just not hearing it. I love that scene. Like I said, certain scenes like that, they're awesome.
So. Well, Ritchie, like I said to Rocky, you both, maybe I should even do you one at a time. But if you want to come back on our show with my brother, we'll get you on again to talk about where we are in the Rocky film, because I think you guys will have a lot to add as we talk about like certain scenes and certain moments, so we can kind of stay more focused, because there's so much to talk about. 7 movies, you can't talk about them in 1 hour. But
for what we were thrown and the time we were given, we went them in order. We kept them in order pretty decent, but not enough material on each movie. I agree.
You guys are awesome. Once again, I love your show. It's funny. It makes me laugh. My only complaint is I can't download it on my phone. So that's my only complaint. So I probably am not alone when I say, if you guys go on iTunes and you go on your you branch out that way, you'll get more listeners, I think. That's just me.
Yeah.
But you guys are funny. You're hilarious.
Yeah, correct. There's also, a lot of time that I got family too and work. And
I know. Trust me. My wife's sending me texts right now. Hurry up. So I know. All right, brother. You're awesome.
Super Ugly Show, Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We appreciate you having us on. Thanks, Ryan.
All right. You take care, Ritchie, and I'll see you online as I comment on your shows. Take care, brother.
Awesome. Later, guys.